Well, good morning and welcome to Engage OK in the Cloud for this summer. I am so grateful to have everyone with us this morning. With each passing day, we get a bit closer to a sense of normalcy, and things will not be exactly the same as they were before the pandemic, at least not anytime soon. And we know that the reverberations for COVID-19 likely will be felt for many, many years to come. But right now in Oklahoma, we have a unique once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to serve our students and families like we've never been able to before. And so let me tell you a little bit about it. In the education arena, I would suggest to you, I'm so sorry, that we don't want a full-fledged return to pre-pandemic classrooms, but from a deeper appreciation of technology to understanding with really a greater sense of what school means to a community, we have learned a lot, and there is no going back. It was Socrates who offered this bit of wisdom. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. While the pandemic was undoubtedly one of the biggest challenges we have ever faced, we now have an opportunity to use and build upon what we've learned during the past year and a half. As a result, we are poised to make smart investments with federal relief dollars to positively impact Oklahoma schools for decades. School district leaders across Oklahoma must now consider how best to use the considerable federal funds that they have been allotted. And for Oklahoma State Department of Education, meanwhile, we are already building on the new, not looking back, only forward. We started with an innovative long-term plan, Ready Together Oklahoma, a framework for supporting students through the pandemic and beyond. These efforts will include initiatives to bolster accelerated learning, strengthen instruction, and address social emotional needs fueled by more than a year of the pandemic. This summer, and looking ahead through the summer of 2023, we will invest at least $14 million in after-school and out-of-school programming. This spending is a requirement of the Federal American Rescue Plan, and rightly so. Most immediately, we invested nearly $6 million this summer to Oklahoma Alliance of the Boys and Girls Clubs and Oklahoma Alliance of YMCAs, which are two well-established nonprofits with 100 different locations across the state. And they have that statewide infrastructure to jumpstart summer programming for thousands of Oklahoma school kids, as well as that which is happening in our school districts. Moreover, we will award federal relief grants to nonprofits to provide similar enrichment opportunities that leverage that out-of-school time once school begins next fall. Well, we have also launched a recovery website at readytogether.sde.ok.gov. This site includes resources to support schools and communities as they determine the most effective uses of federal relief funds. For this effort, we have created evidence-based guidance documents with links to established research for educators to consider as they implement important programs. And when our work started months ago on Ready Together Oklahoma, we made it a priority to collaborate with the number of external education stakeholders. We posed questions like, how can we accelerate learning during the summer and create a seamless transition into the next school year? How can we ensure our students have social and emotional connections and support after a year of personal and educational disruption and uncertainty? How can we engage our communities so we are united in providing a foundation for a well-rounded education that enables every student to be successful? So we listened, and we listened to teachers, administrators, students, and families to develop these 5 sections for resources and documents. They are student learning and success, prioritizing health and well-being, ensuring equity for all, engaging families and communities, and supporting teachers and leaders. Oklahoma stands ready to lead the nation in presenting guidance to educators, just as we did last May with our Return to Learn Oklahoma framework. As we get closer to a new normal, we stand with our school leaders and teachers to do the hard work necessary for our kids. The influx of federal relief dollars has been and will continue to be a real game changer for Oklahoma. Opportunities never before available to our districts, teachers, and students will now become a reality. And here is where we have the potential for profound change. In the same manner as prior relief packages, 90% of those funds went directly to our schools. That was approximately 1.3 billion under the American Rescue Plan. And that was awarded to districts based on their proportion of Title I Part A funds. The remaining relief funds comprise our state level set aside for activities and interventions to address the academic, social, and emotional needs of students and address the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on historically underserved student populations. We at the State Department of Education have made very careful decisions with that input on major initiatives backed by these state set-aside funds. So let me share what's coming with some of these initiatives. First, according to 2020 America's Health Ranking, nearly 20% of Oklahoma children aged 17 and younger have experienced 2 or more adverse childhood experiences that are known as ACEs. Only 5 states, 5, have higher rates of trauma with their children. To compound this problem, we know the efforts of the pandemic are surely exacerbating existing ACEs in the lives of our children. And if we are to encourage our students to be on track for academic success, we must first take steps and action to wrap supports around the whole child. Our single largest investment of COVID emergency relief funding will be the Oklahoma School Counselor Corps. Students in every corner of the state will benefit from this initiative. Through a recent grant that we put out actually just last week that drew over 180 districts to apply, there's an estimated $35 million, which will fund 300 additional school counselors and other mental health professionals all across Oklahoma for the next 3 years. We anticipate naming these recipients by July 1. So stay tuned. $13 million of that set-aside fund will also go for training in the science of reading for up to 10,000 kindergarten through 3rd grade elementary teachers over the course of 3 years. The science of reading is evidence-based reading instruction that improves student outcomes through the prevention and intervention of reading difficulties. This critical training will result in teachers being able to be more effectively teaching those students that are struggling to read. We also plan to create a train the trainers model so that training can continue for new teachers entering the field after those 3 years. In partnership with Oklahoma colleges and universities, we will also invest in a math tutoring corps to help address middle and high school learning gaps caused by the pandemic. $3.8 million in relief funds, federal relief funds, will pay for 500 math tutors each year for 3 years. Tutors will include current college and university students to provide 100 hours of free tutoring to those eligible students based on those we identified through state testing data. And by the way, some teachers might be interested in being a part of that as well. But we are targeting the combination of our college students so that they also serve as great mentors and role models for those in middle school and high school. Our next initiative will fund 1,300 student teachers every year for the next 3 years, using $12.7 million in federal funds. The stipends will ease the burden of student teaching, which, as you all know, is unpaid work that often stands in the way of a teacher candidate completing that education program. This recruitment and retention effort can help counter Oklahoma's ongoing teacher shortage by adding more qualified teachers to the classroom and removing those barriers that prevent people from completing those programs. So take a moment to reflect on this past year and a half, actually. We have come so far and we have come through it together, but we can't rest here simply because the worst of COVID-19 appears to be over. I am so proud of what we have accomplished in recent years. the first teacher pay raises in a decade, record investments in public education, and the elimination of standardized testing except for what is federally required, providing the ACT and SAT free of charge for juniors, eliminating those old end of instruction tests that no one looked at after they graduated. We implemented the individual career academic planning, which are strong academic standards and accountability, are working to have more of a holistic wraparound support for our students and an emphasis on trauma-informed instruction and meeting kids where they are. You know, the list goes on, and it's been accomplished because of those of you on this in this conference and in this state who have stood together and let your voices be heard, and you've spoken for children. And yet we have much, much further to go and more to do for Oklahoma's children and families before they can claim to have the public education system that they truly deserve. We've made great strides together, but now we find ourselves on the cusp of real transformative change. Treading water is not okay, and it never has been an effective policy for education. We have to really continue to pull together. There is too much at stake and too much opportunity to let up now. So together, our resolve to serve the whole school, whole community, and whole child will make much needed positive change, not only to the classroom, but to the state we call home. Public education is a long-term commitment. We stand ready together for the post-pandemic era. The work all of you have done in this past year and a half, the long hours, the frustrations, and seemingly endless challenges, the quarantines and isolations, the exhaustion, the tears, and yes, the triumphs will forever be a part of us. It was a tremendous task for which you should be really proud. We are so proud. You are heroes. The fierceness and the tenacity with which you navigated through the crisis, arguably the most significant in recent memory, is nothing short of astounding. And better, brilliant days ahead are coming, and I know it. Thank you for your unwavering dedication to Oklahoma school children. And God bless you, God bless Oklahoma. And I am thankful and grateful that you are a part of Engage OK this summer. Being in this virtual space is a testament to your professional commitment and your passion. You are truly magnificent. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and have a great rest of the summer and a great new school year. Take care.